All right. Hi again, everybody. So glad you're here with us to read a story and sing a song. And let's get right to it, okay? All right, let's sing a song. Ready? Once there were three wandering Jews. Once there were three wandering Jews. Wandering, wandering Jews, Jews, Jews. Wandering, wandering Jews, Jews, Jews. Once there were three wandering Jews. The first one's name was Abraham. The first one's name was Abraham. Abraham, ham, ham. Abraham, ham, ham. The first one's name was Abraham. The second one's name was Isaac. The second one's name was Isaac. Isaac, zig, zig. Isaac, zig, zig. Second one's name was Isaac. The third one's name was Jacob. The second one's name was Jacob. Jacob, cub, cub. Jacob, cub, cub. The third one's name was Jacob. They all went down to Canaan's land. They all went down to Canaan's land. Canaan, Canaan, land, land, land. Canaan, Canaan, land, land, land. They all went down to Canaan's land. All right, let's do one more. You are beautiful beyond description, too marvelous for words, too wonderful for comprehension, like nothing ever seen or heard. Who can grasp your infinite wisdom? Who can fathom the depth of your love? You are beautiful beyond description, majesty enthroned above. And I stand in awe of you. I stand in awe of you. Holy God, to whom all praise is due, I stand in awe of you. All right, let's read a book called Fightin' Mad. It was the first day of school, and Sherman Shrew already loved it. He had a desk right next to his friend Shelley. He had the best teacher in the school, Miss Mouse. He had a green lunchbox for his earwig sandwiches. But the most exciting thing about his new school was the playground. Sherman had never seen a playground like it. There were blue and yellow teeter-totters, swings and a carousel with brightly painted grubs, wearing saddles and reins. There was also a shiny red slide. The first time Sherman saw the slide, he gasped. Since Sherman was a pygmy shrew, he was smaller than everyone else in the class. Even his friend Shelley was bigger than he was. But Sherman just knew that when he climbed up the ladder of that slide, he would feel like the biggest shrew on earth. "All right, class," said Miss Mouse, after they had finished learning the rodent rules of conduct. "Time for recess." By the time Sherman had scrambled down out of his desk, he was the last in line. When the students poured out the doors and onto the playground, they ran in all directions. "Remember, take turns," Miss Mouse called after them. Even though Sherman ran fast as he could to the slide, he was the last one there. He stood in line, bouncing up and down excitedly, waiting for his turn. He watched the other mice and shrews climb up the ladder and then fly squealing down the slide. "Almost my turn," thought Sherman breathlessly. "Almost there." Then Mandy Mouse ran up and pushed her way to the front of Sherman. "No," thought Sherman, "it was my turn." He looked around to see if Miss Mouse had noticed, but she was busy putting a band-aid on Myra Mouse's knee. Seth Shrew ran over from the swings and got in line behind Mandy. "Hey, I was next," said Sherman, getting angry, but Seth didn't look back. "It isn't fair," fumed Sherman. "It was my turn." Mandy and Seth were laughing. Suddenly, Sherman wondered if they were laughing at him. "I'll show them," thought Sherman darkly, his face getting hot. The little shrew lifted his paw, ready to stomp on the tail in front of him. Sherman was just about to throw his entire 2 ounces into Seth's tail when scream! It was Miss Mouse blowing a whistle. Sherman Shrew, time out, come here, please. Sherman couldn't believe his ears. But I didn't do anything, he said. Sherman, warned Miss Mouse, come here now. Sherman plodded to the steps, his front paws balled into two fists. That's better, said Miss Mouse. Why don't you sit here with me on the steps for the last few minutes of recess? You can keep me company. Sherman bit his lower lip. He blinked furiously, holding back angry tears. He was fighting mad. Not my fault, he thought over and over. After recess, Sherman could hardly pay attention in class. In a lesson about food groups, Miss Mouse asked the students to name their favorite snacks. Sherman, who hadn't been listening, said, "The slide." Everybody laughed. Sherman sank down in his seat. What's wrong? Whispered Shelley. Sherman ignored her and was too angry to talk. When Sherman got home that day, his mother had made his favorite snack, tomato hornworms. Sherman sat at the table, thinking about how everyone had laughed at him. How was your first day at school? Asked Miss Shrew. Horrible. I'm never going back, said Sherman. Miss Shrew looked at her son kindly. What's wrong, Sherman? She asked. Sherman thought about the whistle and the timeout. Then he thought about the slide. He nearly started to cry. Instead, he slid out of his chair. Excuse me, I don't want to talk, he said. He trudged out of the burrow, his mother watching. The next day, all Sherman could think about was recess. When Miss Mouse finally said, recess time, Sherman threw himself out of his seat. He was jostled and bumped. Once again, he was the last in line. He ran faster than he ever had run in his life to the slide. But when he got there, the line was twice as long as yesterday's. Sherman's heart pounded. He wanted to race up that ladder so badly that he trembled and he waited in line. Race you, Shelley shouted to Seth Shrew as they came running from the grub go round the slide. Seth slid into the line first, right in front of Sherman. The whole world seemed to turn red. Sherman didn't even think. He opened his mouth and was about to close his sharp teeth around Seth's tail when scream! No, cried Sherman, this isn't my fault. There was Miss Mouse, waving him over to the doors. Sherman shuffled over the steps. He didn't even look at Miss Mouse. He was, as he angrily sat down. At the end of the day, Miss Mouse said, Sherman Shrew, please stay a minute. Sherman dragged his long tail all the way to Miss Mouse's desk. Sherman, she began, is something bothering you? He thought about Miss Mouse's whistle and he looked at the floor. No, he choked out. I see. Would you please give this to your mother, Sherman? Miss Mouse handed Sherman a note. All the way home, Sherman felt as if the note were burning his paw. After Miss Shrew read the note, she said, now, Sherman, I'd like to tell you, I'd like you to tell me what's wrong. Sherman balled his paws into fists. They aren't fair, he blurted out. Who, Sherman? The other shrews. And the mice. They pushed me out of line, and then Miss Mouse blew the whistle and the kids laugh at me. Miss Shrew set down the note. Then she hugged her son close. Sherman, she said softly, I know it's hard to be a pygmy shrew. Just about everyone is bigger than we are. It's hard sometimes not to get angry too, but hurting other people isn't the answer. You have to learn to be angry without lashing out. But how, Mom? Miss Shrew said, you know what we shrews have going for us? We have loud voices. The next time someone pushes you out of line, you say, excuse me, I was next, as loud as you can. Then see what happens. Miss Shrew smiled. Now let's have supper. I made some grub meal pancakes for you. The next day at recess, Sherman darted for the slide. When he got bumped and jostled, he stood his ground. When Seth Shrew ran in front of Sherman in the line, Sherman cleared his throat and shrieked, excuse me, I was next. Seth whirled around, startled. Oh, Sherman, sorry, I didn't see you. He stood aside so Sherman could take his rightful place in line. When Sherman finally climbed to the top of the gleaming red slide, all the other mice and shrews on the playground looked tiny, just like ants, thought Sherman happily. The clouds seemed close enough to touch. He waved to Shelley, who was watching him from the sand pile at the bottom. Then Sherman, the biggest shrew on earth, flew down the slide in one thrilling second. And that's the end of that one. So do you ever get angry? Do you get mad sometimes? I know you do. I do too. I get mad too. But it's what we do, right? It's how we react to anger. That's the important thing, right? As the book of James tells us that, right? To be slow to speak, quick to hear, and slow to anger, right? And we're also told to be careful what we do when we're mad. So think about that. Think about when you're mad, you control, you choose how to act, okay? All right, let's say a prayer. Dear God, thank you for such forgiveness. Thank you for our many blessings. Thank you for your Son. Thank you for your Spirit. And thank you for everything you've given to us. We ask as you help us as we go forward that when we get angry, when we get mad, help us to make good choices. Help us to remember who we are and who our families are, and help us to react better. We thank you for your blessings. Thank you for this time we've had to read a story and sing songs, and just thank you for everything you've given to us. We pray in your Son, in Jesus' name, amen. All right, don't forget to get your coloring sheets and color them, take pictures, send it to me, okay? And let me know what songs you want to sing and what stories you want to read, okay? Till next time, bye everybody.